Some people claim that the atrocities we commit in our fiction are those inner desires which we cannot commit in our controlled civilization. So they are expressed instead through our art. I don't agree. I believe heaven and hell are one and the same. The soul belongs to heaven and the body to hell.
Welcome back to the Blasphemous Cinema Podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me today is, of course, my trustworthy co-host, Addison. How are we doing today, Addison?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You look very different from the last time we recorded.
Oh yeah, I chopped all my hair off.
Everything's gone.
Yeah, and I shaved my face.
All
It needed,
gone.
it needed to happen.
It's been a long time. Been
Yeah,
a long time.
I guess over a year.
Yeah. Um,
Been
I
filming.
think, yeah. It went to a good cause.
It did. It was just for filming, and now that all my scenes are done, so I got to cut my hair.
So all your scenes are done.
Yeah, I am wrapped.
Okay. Word. How much longer does the shoot have going on for?
I don't know. Probably like I think all they have now is just like little pickup stuff, like
Word.
small stuff here and there.
Oh, yeah. If you know Addison, you know that he's involved with Virtual Sunset Studios and the films over there with Chandler and Keith and Travis and all that good jazz. So yeah, he's been working on this most recent one they're doing, and it's going to be exciting.
All that good jazz. Yeah, it's a prequel to Death After Dusk, a
Yes,
short
sir.
and skinny train robbery, and it's basically us trying to make an indie blockbuster.
Hmm.
Like, and we actually have real set pieces and real stunts, and we tried to go all out. So
I can't
hopefully,
wait to see it.
I hope everyone enjoys it when it does come out.
Yeah, it'll be good. Um, we are joined here today to discuss two films, a first in the entry of a series and the sequel. There's four of these. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Um, called Men Behind the Sun, and the second one is Men Behind the Sun 2, Laboratory of the Devil, or Maruta 2.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how I had to find it because I searched Men
yeah.
Behind the Sun too, and I could not find it anywhere.
So, full disclosure, going in, I thought that this was going to be on retelling the events of the rape of Nanking.
Yeah,
Not true.
that's what I
I
thought too
completely.
going into the first one.
You did too?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause I saw something like people kept talking about how it was a metaphor for the way the Japanese were and everything. So I thought it was gonna be kind of like documentary kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but no.
Um, so apparently like the third entry in this series is like gets a lot in terms of plot gets a lot worse and is also the awful. But the fourth one actually details the events of the rape of Nanking. So that's interesting. There did not need to be four of these.
No, I don't think so.
Um, we're here to talk about the first two. And so the first two specifically follows Unit 731 and the atrocities they committed during like kind of like the back half of World War II. Essentially, the Japanese had a special unit to conduct experiments on Chinese and Russian captives um, to create bioweapons. Um, and just do these insane experiments on these prisoners and hopefully create weapons that would put them over the hump to win World War II.
Yeah.
Um, the first one specifically kind of covers a group of kids who are kind of thrown into um, helping out the unit, and they're like a part of the unit, but like these are young kids who are probably they're not even teenagers yet.
No.
Basically placed in duty to witness these experiments and also help on them. So you already get a really interesting perspective on how they want to, show how awful these things were.
It kind of out the gate feels like it's kind of like Dogtooth or like Jojo Rabbit kind of style, where it's like a commentary on
Yes,
fascism, where you get you get them while they're young, and you try and
you get
train
the
them.
lens. Yeah,
Yeah, like
big
train them
time.
to not feel a certain type of way, like them telling the youth that the Chinese and Russian prisoners were not people.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
oh,
not people. They're called Maruta. That's
yeah,
what they
they
call
kept trying to
them.
like beat it out of them. Like anytime they would say that they were a person, they would hit them and say, "No, it's not a person." And it's kind of it's got
That's a Maruta. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like it feels like it's kind of that idea of othering somebody. It makes it easier to be brutal to them and be terrible to them, and also it also is kind of just like their version of the Holocaust, I guess.
very much. Like yeah, wholeheartedly. And we'll talk about the first movie first, but both of these films kind of go about they kind of tell the same exact story, but through two different types of lenses. So the first one primarily focuses on the children, and you kind of have like one soldier who's kind of there that you kind of follow ish through this. Um, but you're just getting like basically these experiment set pieces throughout to as basically the film goes on and just to show you what was going on, what this shit really happened. Um,
Yeah, the first one's actually very historically accurate. The second one not
yes,
so much. But it also feels I feel like the best comparison for these two is the difference between the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2,
yeah,
where it is kind of like the same story like you said, but it's just one of them has a higher production value and just
but this doesn't go up in quality; it goes down.
well, you can tell like technically from a technical
It's
standpoint.
it's more of a movie. It
It's
feels more,
filmed,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
filmed better, higher quality, higher production value, all that stuff. But I wouldn't say the movie itself is better. But you can just tell that they were trying to be like, look, this one's a real movie. But it has the
yeah,
exact same formula, and it's literally just like a little plot, something fucked up. A little plot,
yeah, yeah,
something fucked up.
yeah. Um, First movie opens up with a quote: "Friendship is friendship, history is history." Um, when you see that, how do you interpret?
I honestly had no idea what they were trying to do with that quote when it first came up because I was kind of just like, I didn't even know what I was getting into because I didn't watch anything or read up on anything about these
Yeah,
movies except for the fact that people were talking about that it compares to like actual historical traumas and stuff that happened from war. And so when it came up with a quote and then it kind of had like actual war footage and then it started cutting in like weird synth music and had these like childlike scenes that felt like they were trying to be like Spielberg, I was kind of like tonally thrown off. I was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
yeah,
I honestly didn't know what to make of the movie until it really started getting going. And I was like, okay, this thing's interesting, I guess.
yeah. Um, I I think the purpose of the quote is just to kind of say, um, almost like there is no such thing as friendship here. This is just history as history was almost. That's my
Yeah.
interpretation of it. Um, you know, considering how accurate they were, it does feel like the quote serves its purpose. But um,
Well, I guess they're talking about like, I guess they were trying to compare the historical accuracy that the film has to the fact that, kind of like the stuff with the mute boy and everything, where
yeah,
you can't really stop human beings from trying to find connections socially with
hmm,
other human beings. But at the same
yeah,
time, the history of everything that happened with it is also kind of fucked up and kind of irredeemable.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the first before we get even go to basically the compounds of where these experiments are going on. The group of kids that essentially end up going to the compound end up terrorizing a homeless kid.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting and kind of rough way to start the movie. Then as soon as you know, they get enlisted into duty, we get a sudden look at the crematorium. And it's all these dead bodies, bloodied, cut up, and this guy is like, just putting them in the furnace.
Yeah.
And in the first one, isn't like the first one, the guy who's running the furnace, he's kind of a character.
Hell yeah, he's like
He-
drunk
He's
24/7,
like a
and
drunk old guy, yeah.
he just has like a bone saw the whole time, cutting these bodies up and throwing them in there. And they all get delivered on like a mine cart and just jump,
Yeah,
and they're just dropped next to him.
yeah. Um, I think prosthetics wise and everything, I do think this set piece looks great.
Yeah, I mean,
It
crazy
doesn't
thing
look,
is
it doesn't look,
a lot of it was
yeah, go.
cadaver.
Yeah,
Like I don't think there was very many prosthetics. Like
yeah,
supposedly the director used a lot of actual live bodies.
yeah. There's a point at the end where they do an experiment on a cat, and for a while, the cat gets eaten alive by rats. And for a while, people thought that they actually did that to the
Hmm.
cat, but it was not true. The cat did not perish.
Yeah,
Um,
that was one of the only things that they didn't do for real.
yeah, they basically put honey on, they smothered the cat in honey so the rats would lick it.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of red paint, basically.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did say that they
Um,
really burned the rats, though.
yes,
They actually
yes,
burned the rats, but the cat lived because they said they filmed with the cat, and once it was done filming, they washed him off and gave him fish to eat, and that was like he was happy, and they were like, "That's all that they did," but they actually killed the rats.
yeah. The rats. They said, "Fuck you." We're actually worried about the bubonic plague right now.
Yeah.
These rats could die. Um, so yeah, you like early on you get like introduced to, yeah, there's just like this room full of mice and rats, and you're kind of just like, oh, what's that for? You know,
Why is that
we'll
there?
find out later. But the there's kids being kids type thing where like they have the kids like brought along a ball, and basically they're not supposed to be playing with this ball, and one of them tries to go get the ball and gets killed for it.
Yeah, that it was kind of interesting though, because like the way they start chasing after the ball, it starts playing that funny sounding like 80s
Yep.
music,
Yep.
and he's getting shot at by machine guns, and you're like, why
Yep.
is this playing off comedically right
Yeah.
now? And then he runs into the electric fence and just and gets fucking fried, and I was like, all
I
right.
couldn't believe it. I
I
couldn't
couldn't believe it
believe
either
it.
because I thought he was like gonna live because of the music, and then the music just cuts out and he gets electrocuted to death, and I was like, I don't know what I'm watching right now. This feels like a fever dream. And then the
Honestly,
other kid gets the ball, the homeless kid or the
yeah,
meat.
the homeless kid. Yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed the electric fence death for sure. That was crazy. So there's a um you get introduced as one character who's basically the head of this operation, who is a um former inventor of a water purifier. And so at this like one big grand meeting, someone's talking shit about him and his water purifier, and he heard about this, and so during this meeting, calls him up and tells him to take a piss into this cup or whatever,
Hmm.
and pours it into the water purifier, and drinks it himself. Also, just crazy.
Yeah, it's a wild power play.
I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, why is he taking a piss right now? And I'm like, oh my god, he's fucking drinking it?
He's proving his water purifier is badass.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
crazy power move.
Yeah, so we got like we're just getting back to back crazy, insane shit right now.
Well, then you also find out that he like sends people away that don't agree with him under his
Yeah.
leadership to basically get killed. Like he just sends them to the front lines or reassigns them.
Yeah, to specific places that are not great.
Yeah.
Um this is when we kind of get into a string of pretty rough events.
Yeah, all the
Um
torture sequences.
I will say we'll talk about it in a little bit, but there is one sequence that like really made me react audibly and physically.
I
That
wonder if that's
was
the same one that made me react.
okay. Um, well, first we have them putting a 3-month-old baby under the snow.
Yeah.
That was pretty rough.
They smothered it with the snow, but luckily you don't really see
Yeah,
anything. It's just a blanket.
yeah, yeah. But still, like the
The
fact that
implications.
the implications, it's rough. Um, so there's there's a sequence where all the kids are at in the indoor pool, and all the kids are basically beating a Chinese person to death with
Hmm.
sticks. Um, and that's like kind of like besides maybe like one or two, I think like all of them are like bought into basically beating this person to death
Yeah.
with these sticks. Um, so kind of what you were going on earlier, like incorporating and brainwashing these youth to do truly horrendous things and lose their humanity.
Yeah, they're trying to
Um,
normalize it.
yeah. Okay. We're gonna talk about in my opinion, the thing that very much took me out physically and audibly. Um, you get introduced to this one experiment that they're basically, um, first they have these two prisoners who are outside in the freezing cold, and they have their arms locked up, and they're putting their arms in water and taking them out of the water so their hands and arms freeze super fast and gets frostbite. So like they have like full on hands and arms that are just littered with icicles.
Hmm.
So they they bring this woman in afterwards, and her arms are completely purple. Arms and hands completely purple. This is definitely one of the toughest things I've ever seen in a movie. Um, is this what you were talking about or no?
No, I was talking about the
The
pressure tank.
compression? Yeah, okay, yeah, that was also really rough.
But
But
this one's up there just because of the how real it was because they actually used real arms for this scene. I don't know if you
what?
know that. I don't know if you know that, but the girl who they're doing the experiments on is the director's niece, and he couldn't get anyone else to do it, so she agreed to it. But they have actual. She has her arms inside actual cadaver arms.
What?
Yeah, so like the arms and stuff that you're seeing being frozen and torn apart, those are real arms, but her arms are inside of them. And she's like holding them like nubs.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I mean those are actually real arms that they're
Yeah, so
freezing and tearing
they
apart.
they then they put them in hot water, take them
Yeah.
out, and they take a knife and they start deep cutting them, and then rips off all of the flesh from the bone.
Yeah.
It holy shit. Like I was like, "Oh my fucking god." I couldn't believe what I was watching. I that legitimately probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to see in a movie. That was very tough to see.
Yeah, those are real arms.
That's that's awful.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's awful.
That's what I'm saying. They use like real stuff. Same for the kid autopsy scene. This is a real, like, freshly dead body that they found.
Yeah. Um the next real experiment we get is the bacteria bomb. The head guy kind of gets the idea that, oh, he saw something like splash onto other things, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna call this meeting, and he's gonna basically, what was it? What was he doing? Like, crashing, um,
It was the wine bottles.
yeah,
He
wine
was throwing the
bottles
wine
throughout the
bottles.
audience,
Yeah, and
and
they
he's
gave him
asked
an idea.
everyone, yeah, anyone raise their hand if they got touched by the water that was in the wine bottles. They raised their hands, and that gave them um, the inspiration for what thought to be like their grand experiment. Like, this is what's going to do it. And so basically, they put Black Death, bubonic plague, in these bombs. And when the bomb sets off, anyone who around them is cooked. They're dead. The
Yeah,
good
but
is
they put
dead.
it in like pottery casing though, which is not
Yeah.
really the smartest thing in the world. And then it
Yeah.
breaks on the plane.
Yep. Um, so they have a field with these prisoners who are strung up, and they, let these things crash and blow up, and everyone gets infected with, the things inside, and they, um, basically, like, I don't know if, like, a little confused, but maybe, but essentially, like, their skin starts to boil, and like they get really fucked up, like, appearance wise.
Yeah, they tried to
Um,
make like an aggressive strain of the
yeah,
plague, and so it actively like progresses quicker.
yeah. So like boils and all that shit are just like that on these people, and it's very disgusting and bloody. Um, so yeah, that's a bacteria bomb test. Then we, like you said, we get the autopsy. I put a note. This was before I knew anything about it. I said great gore, but I didn't need to see the kid autopsy.
Yeah.
And now I know that it's a real fucking autopsy on a real dead kid.
Yeah, the dude, apparently the director had a lot of connections with the police and with the coroners and the morgues, and they actually were really close to cutting the scene entirely. And then, literally, the night before they were going to film it, they got a call from the coroner and said that there was actually a freshly dead child that he could use for the movie. And they went and got it and they filmed with it. And so, yeah, there's just a freshly dead child body in there.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's like what they perform an autopsy on a dead child
Yeah, and that's
for
why
this
there's no
movie.
blood or anything because it was drained of the blood already.
Yeah. Um, insane stuff. Yeah. Um, and for different reasons, like the one they do in the second one also had something that was like really fucking disgusting that really got to me.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. You have, and it was the mute boy that was the autopsy technically.
Yeah, because they
Yeah, I
wanted
skipped ahead of my notes, but I put like the poor mute boy.
they wanted a um young boy's organs that were not infected as a control. And the guy
Yes.
was talking about how hard it was to find like a pre-puberty child's organs that were not tampered with. And then yeah, they tricked the
The
young
mute boy.
the young youth boy who's actually in the 731 unit to bring out the mute boy because he thought he was going to get fed and they were going to be nice to him. And then they tricked him and took him into the autopsy room and put him to sleep basically with the chloroform and just started chopping away.
Yeah, really awful. Like you just feel awful during this entire time, and essentially knowing that he's going to die, and him being in such high spirits the entire time because he thinks like they're just helping him and giving him like providing resources to him. Um, yeah, until they chloroform him and yeah, actually do the autopsy.
Yeah, and he jumps off
Um,
the wall.
yeah, very tough. Um, Also the decompression chamber.
Yeah, that one.
Since this one took you out, I'm gonna let you explain it.
I don't even know how to explain it. I was just watching because I didn't know what was happening, but they put this naked guy in this chamber and he's laying down and they start raising the pressure in the chamber and then all of a sudden his intestines start coming out of his ass.
Yeah,
Like I guess kind of just almost like he is like just going to the bathroom, but it's all of his intestines and stuff coming out. And he's
absolutely
just
fucking
laying there.
disgusting.
It's insane looking. I don't really know how they filmed that one.
Yeah, it's truly off-putting and
That was
sick.
one of those where I was just kind of sitting there watching. I was like, just
Yeah,
jaw dropped. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
yeah. Um, so essentially the the unit 731 is called to retreat due to the Russians. Um, so and then we get the cat sequence with the burning rats,
Which I
which
looked that up immediately after watching that cat sequence. I was like, they better bring back.
I need to know that they left this cat alone.
Yeah, I needed to make sure that the cat was alive afterwards, and
Yeah,
luckily that was the only thing they didn't actually.
and thankfully they gave him some fish and everything.
Yeah, supposedly he got a nice big fish and went home afterwards. So that better be true.
Went home after a hard day's work.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the burning racks is like great. I was flabbergasted almost, and just all these burning rats was yeah insane set piece,
Imagine how
and
that
they're
smelled
fucking
when they actually
real,
did that.
disgusting.
Yeah, imagine the smell of that. And it's also just horrible that they just lit that whole room on fire. It's like fuck the
And there's
rat.
like hundreds of rats.
Yeah, I don't even. It probably might be more than hundreds. They're crawling all over each other.
Yeah, pretty fucking crazy. Um, then you get like the flagpole thing, the flagpole death. That was crazy. He basically shoved it through his neck, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, you get a flagpole basically shoved through a person's neck, and yeah, that was insane. Um, then you kind of learn at the end, after basically they're trying to, get rid of everything, whatever, um, wasn't successful, but of course the Americans took the test results.
of course.
I mean, I could have seen it coming, but like, of course.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing all these human atrocities for us. We'll take
I
those
mean,
results and we'll further our own technology and weaponry and all that shit.
it's just like the Nazi thing, where
Yeah, no,
they
yeah,
they
absolutely.
brought in a whole bunch of Nazi scientists and gave them pardons and everything if they
Yep,
helped work on
yep,
stuff for America.
yep. Um,
But they also, I guess I don't know. It's just interesting that this whole movie kind of leads up to the point where they're having to surrender, and then they kind of do the same thing that the Hitler unit did, with that we should all just kill ourselves kind of talk. I don't know. I like the idea of the first one, but again, it's just some of it is just like execution wise. I think I want more or
Okay.
different.
Yeah. I I understand that. I think I walked away feeling pretty positive about it. Like, yeah, it doesn't necessarily like as a whole feel innately like a movie almost. Um, I walked away being like 3.5. Um, Definitely some of the most disturbing stuff. Definitely some of the most um disturbing lore because like obviously it is real and then this shit happened in real life and then him using the actual cadavers for this and killing rats. Yeah, there's just like it it cements itself for me into like actual what disturbing cinema is supposed to be.
Yeah, which I mean, props to the director because according to close friends and family, he was really committed to telling the story like factually.
Yeah.
Like that's why he wanted it to be a disturbing film and to actually use real bodies and everything is because he was trying to get the point across of the war crimes and like the atrocities that Japan did because at the time no one was giving any light to him. And so he was trying to make a supremely messed up film that would get people's attention so people would talk about it. So it's kind of like I like the sentiment behind it that he was trying to make
Yeah.
something shocking intentionally to get a message out there. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, so people did criticize this that it was like almost like how can this be educational? Um but it is like telling about what happened is educational.
I mean, to this day, how many people know that Japan had their own kind of version of the Holocaust?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's clearly not something that's widely known because usually, if you talk about a Holocaust, all you really know about is the German against the Jew. Other than that, most of the other ones are usually kind of hidden or folded
Yeah,
away.
exactly. I read that this was the first time that in Hong Kong, it was the first film to be classified as level 3, which is their highest rating. So that was interesting.
Basically,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
yeah,
their NC-17.
yeah. It's and then like as you can expect, once this came out, censored and banned from a lot of countries. A lot of people thought it was like anti-Japanese propaganda. Um, yeah, but this shit happened. And guess what? Japan participated in it, so I don't know what you want to say.
I mean, anytime anyone says anything bad about something else, they call it just like anti-propaganda.
Classic.
They, yeah, there's always that.
Yeah. Um, so that's the first one. I'm leaning at a 3.5. I'm glad I saw this. I knew a little bit of that these things happen, but I didn't know like the full extent in terms of like, oh, what there was like a dedicated unit, and what the actual all of the experiments were. So it essentially checked off a couple um, boxes for me, like an actual like formidable, disturbing film, and actually touching on real life shit and doing it in a respectable manner in terms of educational purposes. Um, how would you feel? How do you feel rating wise?
I honestly don't know how I would go about rating these, just because I mean, from like a narrative function of it, I see the merits to it, but I don't really appreciate a lot of the execution of it. But at the same time,
Yeah,
it's like it's really homegrown, really low budget indie. I don't know, there's a lot to admire, but also a lot to where I'm just like, I feel like it could be done better. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really honestly
absolutely.
don't know how I would go about rating something like this.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But
Um,
I do appreciate what it's trying to do, and I definitely think it does a better job than the second one.
yeah, we'll get into the second one now. Men Behind the Sun 2, Laboratory of the Devil, Laboratory of the Devil, Ruta 2. Uh, Essentially, it's kind of like a retread of the first one through a different perspective and a different storyline attached to the main storyline. Essentially, we meet this one doctor who is arrives at a conference and gets told information of what the plans are in terms of like what type of like advancements they were going for. And then he's like, didn't you guys ever hear the story of this? And this is why we shouldn't do it. Uh, you get a flashback essentially to Unit 731 and the person that he mentioned and his story in it through his eyes. Off the bat, I did think, yeah, so like we've said, this one is definitely trying more to be a movie, like an actual movie.
It feels like they're
Um,
trying to commercialize it.
yeah, pretty much. And like, and that's like instant. Like even through like the opening credits, it's more stylized. Like there's more of a there's more of an emphasis on the soundtrack
Yep.
of the
Better
film.
quality, like production design, all that.
Yeah. So like you get like eerie music, like the opening in the credits is eerie music with laboratory containers of dead children in
Yeah, like
all
I
different.
guess like what would you call them? Where they're layered like that, where it shows different layers of
I have no idea what.
like there's like the dermal layer, then there's like the nervous
Yeah.
system layer. Like it's showing different layers of the human body, but they're all inside those incubation like chambers or what? Not
Yeah.
incubation chambers, but the liquid containers. I don't know.
Preserve the bodies, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like instantly we're getting more stylization off the bat. Um and it's like also too it's more vibrant.
hmm
The meeting at the beginning is like, oh, you can actually tell there's a lot of color used in this one compared to the first one. The first one's pretty mute. No
yeah,
pun intended for the mute kid. Yeah, like then there was a point like middle of the way through. I'm like, you know what? Visually, this is reminding me of. This reminds me visually, like color scheme and just the way it's shot, of like a old Romero film.
yeah. I can see that.
Like where I was like, this is like very much reminding me a lot of like visually, color wise, and all that stuff of Dawn.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially since every time it cuts to the gore scenes and stuff, it kind of you can tell where they tried to match the image.
Yeah,
But they tried to do like this stylized thing where they overlay the image with like this kind of gritty, I guess,
yeah,
overlay, so you can't tell that it like changed, but it did change, and that's where they replaced
yes,
like the actor with the cadaver or whatever. But it very much kind of felt like, oh yeah, we're gonna try and make this with a better budget and try and make it with better cameras, higher quality, and we're still going to try and keep that grit to it. But at the same time, we're going to show you how we have evolved into to me, it feels like they're trying to have anime influence, but I could be wrong about that. But it feels like that and melodrama all at the same time because there's a lot of shots and stuff like that with the melodrama and with
I think
actors.
it's, I think it's like more just yet. I wouldn't necessarily say because like there wasn't like a lot of like I think it just more straight up like just straight up melodrama. More like you can say anime too, but like also like a maybe stage plays in terms of like that type of melodrama.
Yeah. Like
You know what I mean?
the dialogue scenes for sure felt like
Yeah.
melodrama through and through, but it's like some of those action sequences, I don't know if they were trying to do an anime style because they thought maybe since I guess the second one came out in the 90s, right?
Let me see real quick. The second one is in 92.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the late 80s and early 90s that was when anime kind of started blowing up, and I was
Yeah.
wondering if they like tried to go with an anime style to attract the attention of Japanese audiences, even though it's about them, that kind of
I
thing.
mean
Like I
like
didn't know if it was kind
I
of like a Trojan horse situation or what.
honestly I to for the purpose of trying to get Japanese audiences to possibly watch this, I would fully buy that take, you
But I
know.
could be wrong.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's
Who
like we
knows?
don't know, but that's a good theory. Um,
But the melodrama is turned up to 11.
yeah, and it
Like there are
makes all of it. It,
scenes.
it makes the whole essentially since this you see a lot of the same experiments again. You're seeing almost the same story again. You get to a point where it's just like, why am I here?
Yeah,
Like I
and
don't
it's
necessarily. Yeah, and then you add the melodrama and a bad love story, a part of that melodrama, and it's like, dude, I really do not need to be here.
yeah,
Um, it just,
because
yeah,
that.
it it's like a double whammy in terms of bad.
Yeah, because I mean, the first one has the group of kids, and it tries to do like the Stand By Me thing, where it's like we have a whole bunch of kids and they're seeing horrific things and they're
Yeah,
reacting to it, and you want to see how the kids react and how they get out of it. But then this one swaps the whole kids subplot out, and now you have the love story that's trying to be like this weird Casablanca love triangle bullshit, but
yeah,
the melodrama feels like a soap opera.
yes,
And you're
and
mixing a soap opera melodrama kind of scenes with the really gritty, like homemade snuff style torture scenes. And it's like this tonally is just whiplash.
yeah, absolutely, and two, the like you, I will say even with the new perspective, they do at least still establish that like, oh, we're still trying to showcase that certain people in these situations are going through um, a dilemma over the ethics of what's going on and them being participating in these um, experiments, etc. Um, but yeah, knowing the plot of the third one, there's no point essentially for the second one and the third one to exist.
What's the plot of
I
that?
it's like a really like essentially it's like in terms of like transporting like a certain like bacteria or whatever, there's like a breakout
Oh,
of a
okay.
virus due to like experiments.
And
And
then the
I
fourth
I and the
to
fourth
make
one is like, okay, we're actually detailing another event that actually happened. So I almost feel like it would have been a lot better if this series was Men Behind the Sun 1 and 2, and the first one was about first one is exactly how it was, and then the second one would have tackled the rape of Nanking.
yeah, like it feels like they should have skipped the second and the third one and just had the one and four since those are true like factual things that happened.
Yeah, and then they would also like fall into the line of like, oh, we're making a series under the same title about overall kind of the same thing, but like different events under that same umbrella. And I
Yeah.
think that would have been a lot cooler and a lot more. Um, and I think probably would have got a lot more attention
Yeah, I
and
mean, I think
notoriety.
I agree with you because I think conceptually that's a much better idea than what they did with the second and third one where they were trying where it literally feels like a studio head or someone saw the first one and they're like, how can we make money off of this? Like, how can we make this commercial? It's like you can't really make it commercial. Like the whole idea of the movie is not
And
commercial.
you failed.
Yeah.
You had the bad idea and you didn't even do it.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand what the motivation. Well, I guess I do know what the motivation for the second one was. I just don't understand how they thought it would work.
Yeah. Um I so in terms of like some actual like, notes on the second one, um there's a cool little set piece with birch trees. That looks cool at the beginning with him and his lover. Um I loved there's this one I think this probably end up being like technically my favorite moment in this entire film where it's like the cigarette butt causing him to reminisce about his lover who he's no longer with. I
Yeah.
loved that. Loved the idea. That was great. Um, so the first autopsy in this one is on a young,
Mm-hmm.
and same thing as the first one. It is very rough to watch. Um, but what really took me out in this one is when they're done and you just like see like the blood and fluid just sitting in the crevice of the body
Yeah.
and just pulling at the bottom of the body. I was like, oh, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
That took me out. That took me out in this one. Um, you get like some more sequences in this one where it didn't do as much in the first one of like when they're doing the autopsies and when they're like putting them into the crematorium. Um, of them like actually sawing off the legs and arms.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't necessarily in very much in the first one, but with this one, they're like, all right, I guess we're gonna, up the ante with this and actually show plenty of shots of us sawing off arms and legs. And I don't like different director. I know like the first autopsy was yes, on the young girl is a real autopsy. I'm not sure if like a lot of the other like the sawing off of the body parts was also technically real or not. I
Yeah, I
I
don't know
couldn't
either.
see.
I don't know to the extent of where the practical comes into
Yeah,
play. Like if all the bodies in like the containers and stuff are just effects and not true bodies, then I don't who knows.
yeah,
That's a lot of
um,
cadavers if they're real.
yeah. Um, they do the sweet and sour.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't really another one of those tonal things where it's like not even really melodrama. It's just like I don't even know why this is in the movie.
It's like yeah, it's this joke that's just like, dude, why is this in here?
No, and then they get in a wrestle match where he like headlocks him and then flips him over onto the bed,
I was laughing so hard.
and it wasn't even shot well, like the way he does the stunt and everything. Like it,
It's
that,
yeah, it's like this like almost this like childish wrestling scene happening between two adults in the middle of this movie.
yeah.
That yeah.
I'm like
Um
all about creative freedom and stuff, but that's one of those things where if I was like on set or something, I feel like that's one of the things where you like go over
Guys,
to the
what are we
director
what
and
are we
be like,
doing right now? Can we do something better with our time instead of
yeah,
shooting this scene?
like literally, that's a moment where you go to the director and you're just like, maybe we can cut this.
Cut
Like,
this out. Yeah.
do we
Um
need it? No. Like the third act of this movie also is just insane because it has nothing to do with like the main plot, really.
yeah,
Like it kind of goes off the rails in the third act.
very much so. Um and I was like this is the point in the movie where I'm like, dude, we're retreading a lot of the same territory in the first one. Like
Yeah.
this is what like I don't know if I think this was like even probably before like the halfway point, and the movie's not long; it's an hour 35. But I was like, we're just retreading so much different, same shit here, and I'm starting to feel like, what's the point? So essentially, the head guy of the operation, of course, he has essentially these maids who are technically Marutas, who are Chinese, and of course, he also makes them his sex slave and sexually assaults them. Um, but the inspiration to basically come up with the bacteria bomb test for this one is him pouring sake over her tits
Yeah.
in a sexual assault scene. And I was like, okay, I guess I appreciate um, you trying to differentiate itself from the first one a bit. Um, I don't know, but it's also okay. It's pretty. It's a just a tough scene in terms of it's like appreciating a sexual assault scene, which
Well, it's also one of those
uh,
things where it's like we're still doing the same thing though. Like
yeah,
you just altered it to make it even more shocking. Like instead of him throwing
yes,
the wine bottles on all the troops just lined up, now it's him just doing this to the maids. And it's like, wow,
yeah,
we're still just retreading the same shit though.
yeah. Um, so they do a second autopsy, but the person is technically alive when they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing where I guess you're doing a slight variation of the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, you get another insane tonal shift in terms of comedic type stuff, where our main character and another um get caught sending the main character gets caught through the help of a friend of sending love letters to his wife, and you just get the head officer just keeps on slapping them for like almost 30 seconds, like actual like 30 seconds of just
It
like
goes on
back
for a
and
while.
I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? And it's like, and it just keeps on going on
They're not
and
even good
on.
looking slaps either.
No, I mean it's the most fake slaps you could imagine,
And it's
and
got that
with like,
Looney Tunes sound effect.
yeah, exactly. And so it makes it like everything is just compounding into making it worse and more comedic, and it's just like, yeah. Um, th- then you get another slapping bit a little bit later. In I mean, well, there's two sla- this the love letter was the second one. There was also a slapping bit at the meeting
Yeah.
and them doing it then. So there's two slapping bits in this movie, and it's like I wonder if they were like, all right, with the second one with the love letter, we gotta go even crazier. We're gonna do
We gotta step
slapping of
this shit
two
up.
people. We're gonna slap two people this time, and we're gonna go for twice as long.
It's like Matthew McConaughey and Wolf of Wall Street. Like these are rookie numbers. We gotta step these numbers up. We're
Yeah,
gonna do more
yeah,
slaps.
yeah. Um, there's a watermelon experiment this time.
Yeah. Just
Uh,
inject the watermelon and they don't
inject
even
the
really eat it. They just kind
yeah,
of rub it in their face.
yeah, inject the watermelon with whatever virus or shit they were working with, and try to force someone to eat it. But of course, they're not really eating it. Um, so it's also just like feels like a. I mean that yes, I that probably did happen, but it was also like feels pointless. You'd almost think like, oh, maybe inject the food without them knowing
Yeah, why would you?
instead of force feeding them.
I mean,
And when
just
they're
like,
obviously them knowing what's in the food is like they're not gonna voluntarily eat it.
yeah, for scientists, they're really fucking dumb. Like,
Yeah,
why would you let anyone know that you were doing an experiment if you want like the control to be that kind of effect, where it's like you
yeah,
want to see what happens.
yeah.
If they know that
Um,
you're injecting with something, then they know there's something in their body.
yeah. So that just felt extremely pointless. Um, so one thing that a lot of people like know in terms of this unit as a whole, and one of the experiments is like, oh yeah, like I'm surprised they didn't show it, but like one of the things that a fair amount of people know about is like they would like bayonet like children to see like, oh, what would happen if we bayoneted a kid? It's like, what do you
Any
think would
question to
happen?
ask? Yeah, what do you
Like,
think would happen?
um, so we get like a different. We also get like a the gun experiment, which feels like the same thing of like kind of like
Yeah, what would
it
happen if we
feels.
shoot somebody?
Yeah, what would happen if we shoot somebody?
I don't know. What would happen?
What would happen if we put them all on a line and use different guns to shoot them?
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a sequence of them doing different guns to a line of prisoners, and yeah, also another very pointless scene. It's like, oh, what did you? You guys are just killing people just to kill people. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, which I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I get the point. Like, you're just showing the fact that these guys just made up any excuse they possibly could
Yeah,
to kill somebody.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, I get that. I
yeah.
got it.
Um, wife subplot essentially turns into she gets mixed up with the Maruta and basically becomes one herself because the people um, that have abducted her don't know that she's actually Japanese.
Yeah, this is where the third act started going off the rails for me because the dad
Very,
gets taken, and then
yeah,
she gets taken, and then she gets mixed up with the prisoners, and then the lead guy who we're seeing his flashback finds out that his love is now mixed up with the prisoners, and it basically becomes like a man on a mission movie where he's trying to break his wife out. I was just like, okay, I guess props for trying to do something different from the first one. Kind of.
yeah. Um, I just put down dumb wife subplot. I appreciate I like the idea of like, oh, what would happen if a character's wife got mixed up with these people. I do like that idea. But in the lens of it just being super melodramatic and just not done well, it just, it doesn't feel
Exactly.
good to be watching.
Exactly.
Also, a lot of people have a lot of the Japanese have like Hitler sashes in this movie
Shocking.
multiple times. Um, I will say like the main character is like his like teacher. The prosthetics for his death was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't mind it too much. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked it when they actually did real prosthetics, and that's one of those things where it's like kind of like with the first one. I wish they leaned less into the real gore and like cadavers and stuff and
Yeah,
leaned more into like Raimi territory where it's like what if we go crazy good with practical gore effects or like Fede Alvarez Evil Dead like stuff like that. It's
yeah,
like it can be done.
yeah,
Like you can do great effects and it still be shocking and everything without being
yeah,
campy funny, but
yeah. Um, you get an insane bayonet kill at the end.
yeah.
So, well, like you said, man on a mission to try and he's trying to break out his wife, but he's also breaking out also the other prisoners. So you get this huge prison escape sequence essentially at the end of the movie, um, and all like the prisoners like picking up guns and weapons to basically charge, um, the guards of Unit 731, and of course they get gunned down. Like, would yeah, you get like this, like what full on them just charging the guards in like a really like cliche cinematic, like oh, all like trying to charge them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
it's
one of
pretty
those things tonally just kind of wild. I was shocked that it was even in there because it didn't feel like they were even taking like the escape and everything, like the fight
yeah.
seriously. Like it felt very
Then
much like campy and everything, and I was like,
Yeah, then they even give the main character a one-on-one duel,
Yeah, and they don't even
and he
make
gets
any
his
of it.
head, and he gets his head chopped off.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you probably could have had a case for the ending being kind of like melodramatic and campy and everything if they were actually successful. Like maybe it would have been interesting. It's like, oh, you flip the script of the first one, and that's why you retread all the same territory to like convert it into a happy ending. It's like that could be an interesting tactic narratively, but no, you ended up doing all this kind of wandering around and then trying to do different stuff just to ultimately get back to the fact where it's like, yeah, and they still all die. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
cool, I guess.
it just like I couldn't believe that we were like, oh, they're actually giving the main character a duel to
Yeah, with his
at
sword.
the end of the. I couldn't believe it. Um, then you get one of the wildest cuts in the movie where it just like hard cuts back to the doctor who were introduced at the beginning of the film with the meeting, and he says, "I finished my story," and it just
Yeah,
cuts.
and he just walked
I was
out,
like, I was like, what?
and then you get the
And
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy ending where he just gets fucking gets
yeah,
assassinated, and it's like,
so
all right,
he's like walking down snowy sidewalk, and I was like, oh, I'm wondering if they're gonna end it like this, and then he gets shot in the back. I was like, of course. What a fucking dumb ending. I couldn't believe the hard cut of like, oh, I finished my story. Then like what? Whose
that's the end
fucking
of my story.
idea? The one thing like you actually incorporated to make this thing different, you just like rushed to get it done. You're like,
But yeah, there
we're
was
not
no
gonna do
closure.
any closure into that. We're just gonna be like, I finished my story. Hard
Yeah,
cut.
literally.
Um, yeah, second one kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I will
technically,
say like I didn't mention it, but like oh the freezing hands and arms thing where they ripped off all the flesh after doing the frostbite and then going super hot also got me again. Um, Still wasn't easier this to watch this time around than was the first, but um, yeah, this one it was the most like meh experience you could imagine, pretty much.
I think I'm right there with you. Like, I think the second one is a better made film from
Yeah,
of a technical standpoint, but I think the first one is a better film narratively and more conceptually. So it's kind of like I wish they were both merged into one thing, and maybe then I would enjoy it more.
yeah. Um, so that's the first two entries of the Men Behind the Sun.
And
I
behind
would I don't think anyone should ever watch the second one. No
that's fair.
point. No point at all. Just watch the first one and you'll get everything that you need out of it. Uh,
Yeah, need
to
it.
learn about to learn about what happened, and I guess to get a good disturbing sin
You're struggling,
disturbing
man.
film under your belt if you're in that mood. Yeah, and if you're in the mood for some actual shit to get under your skin and, you know, vile you out essentially.
Yeah,
First
some of it
one's
does
that.
actually get under your skin for the first one. Like I was surprised because I was not expecting it to get me that much,
Yeah.
but it did.
Um it absolutely did. Um so yeah, that's Men Behind the Sun 1 and 2. Addison, do you have any idea what you want to talk about next time?
Ay, ay, ay. I probably should have prepared it, but
You're good.
we go. We gonna look. We gonna look and see.
Um
Actually, I actually watched some of these without you. Whoops.
you motherfucker.
I watched. Well, I watched. I didn't even know this was on here, but I've actually watched Deadbeat at Dawn. Yeah, it's like a really micro budget revenge flick. I was trying to think if we should do something like commercial.
Like a more commercial, disturbing film.
Yeah, like one that's well known that we just like, just for fun.
Okay.
Like I was thinking something like what do you think about something David Fincher? Would you consider Seven or Girl with the Dragon Tattoo as
Dude,
technically?
let's do. I mean, like, yeah, technically Seven fits that bill, but let's do Girl with the Dragon Tattoo because I have not seen that in years, and I definitely want to rewatch it.
Yeah, and I think that definitely qualifies as disturbing cinema. And plus, I just like Fincher, and I think,
Yeah, and there's some pretty rough scenes in that movie. There's some
but yeah,
pretty.
and the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo for
Yeah.
sure. Definitely
Um,
some rough scenes, but also one of Fincher's best movies that no one really ever talks about. So
used to talk about a lot. I would say, like, as more time has gone past it, it's not necessarily being talked about as much as it used to.
yeah, I really rarely hear anyone talk about it. I think it should get more attention, but I think it's also the same thing that we usually talk about with disturbing cinema. It's the subject matter that turns people off,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't like stuff like that. So it's like I can understand why it's one of his least talked about and seen ones.
So yeah, we will talk about David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo next episode. I'm excited for that. Like I said, I haven't seen that probably since, I mean, 2018.
Yeah, I
It's
probably
been
haven't
a
seen
long
it.
time.
It might have been 2017 for me. Also, when I lived in Savannah was probably the last time I watched it.
Yeah. Um, I've been dying to rewatch it. Like I've like every couple of months I'm like, I definitely want to rewatch that movie. I need to rewatch it soon. So this is perfect.
Let's
Um,
go.
Thank you guys as always for watching and listening to the podcast. We will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.